What's up, everybody? Welcome back to KEL. We got one more match before day one ends of the tournament, and it's semi-finals, the first and only semis that we're going to be going into today. The rest will continue on tomorrow, and it's going to be a continuation of the stories that we've seen already in this tournament. runnysunny and Aleph matching up here.
Yep, sure thing, and that's also an elimination match. runnysunny, we just saw. This guy is kind of wild, big and tapping against Nineric. I mean, what else do you need to do to get such a remarkable experience in the tournament? Overall, being kind of crazy, new gen, super strong, rising German superstar player, and you're going up against Aleph, who gloriously defeated Rafis, and then he, let's just say, a massacre against Malishevsky, and now he's also in loser's bracket, and we have a matchup of those two. runnysunny versus Aleph.
How much could you really ask for from Aleph when you have to face a player like Malishevsky, who is so terrifying in any tournament setting, let alone in KEL, where it's his home turf? But with that, I mean, both of these guys had a bit of a different story, right? You had Aleph, who had one of the craziest battles against Rafis earlier today, winning on tiebreaker by less than 1,000 points, which is probably one of the craziest matches we'll probably ever see in KEL. But following to runnysunny, it's been a bit of a different story where he recently just now had a relatively intense match against Nineric. Maybe the scoreline wasn't as telling of how close the game actually was, but he really put up a fight against Nineric, who's easily one of the big favorites to make top 3 and top 4 in this tournament. So to see that potential from Runny and to go up against Aleph, who really struggled early on in this tournament, despite winning through, it does pin the narrative a little bit against him in this situation, right? Especially with the pool getting much, much more difficult, and Aleph not really having a chance to play comfortably around it. He just went up against Malishevsky. I mean, what else can you really do in a situation like that, especially with a new pool?
Yeah, for sure. And also, looking at runnysunny, I mean, we all saw that 8-3. Yeah, we all saw that Hard Rock 4 that was God mods, and considering it happened very recently, I think he still got that momentum in him, and he is ready to show us why he got that seed 5 in qualifiers. And with that, we are seeing the lobby right here. Quite an high expectation match, I would say, and of course, best of 11. So far, from runnysunny, we did see bans of DD2 and DD3 in last match. Quite interested to see what is going to be against Aleph.
Yeah, I do think these bans have a lot of potential to change, because runnysunny has a very intense target ban into Nineric with that, right? If there was any player who really don't want any movements to go against a map with skill set like DT2 and DT3, it would be against Nineric. So I think Runny had a bit of an exception that last game, and the curious question here is whether or not Aleph's strengths in terms of how well-rounded he is around those control skill sets, around Nova and around Hidden, will be worth changing around, right? Because I don't really think you're going to be targeting out those speed maps against Aleph, where you both generally feel relatively confident, if not runnysunny feeling more comfortable against Aleph than he would in the past, especially with a little bit of time to practice this ball.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the bans will be quite different this time around. We're seeing DT4 from Aleph, and that is quite fascinating if you ask me. That's your really, really controlled, demanding map. It has those super high BPM alt sections, as well as you could consider it slider aim to some extent. And all that combined, the map from 2011 gonna be that ban that he really did not like playing against Malishevsky. He got around 160k against him, so yeah. Lesson learned. And we're seeing a double ban from runnysunny.
Both of these maps seeming to be a similar deal as last time against Nineric. It's going to be, instead of the DT2 and DT3, it's going to be normal 5 DT3. I think just switching things around, regardless of it, you kind of know you're not going to be as powerful. I'm surprised that he did willingly ban this into Aleph, because I feel like both players very much can make this possible. But I think runnysunny generally would be a bit more favored on ceiling, but Aleph is clearly here with something to prove. And have I just seen a data eraser ban here from Aleph? It's a shame, a bit let down, because I know Aleph has potential on this Hidden, but runnysunny's score last match on this map was absolutely unhinged. And when you know Aleph is pretty decent on Hidden, you're seeing him ban this into runnysunny, and you're a little bit worried at the options Aleph is going to have later on in the game.
Indeed, that 2 miss run felt like fever dream. And with that, it's out of the way now, good for Aleph, but we now have also a pick from it. It is going to be DT2, a map from Sanch KK, a really good custom DT mapper for all these tourneys, Russian mapper, and yeah, he is quite great mapping those raw tapping maps. It is going to be 240 VPM, a lot of bursts here and there, some finger control, and also the div spike at the end, the circular one. It is diabolical, so really interested to see how it will go. But with that, runnysunny versus Aleph. There we go, ladies and gentlemen.
This is our last match of the day, so let's hope this is an exciting one to cap off an amazing Saturday where we've seen some of the craziest matches played both by these players. So with the winner Duck side, this was an original, I believe, if it is the same, from the US World Cup 2024 as the DT2 slots, slipping in the same role this tournament here. And it's some obscene stealing with some really interesting flow parts as well. As going into the first start of the map, you can see instantly a big act gap coming through for runnysunny as the big test stream kicks in. Already it's a sign that both players are not having the most comfy ride.
Yeah, just of that rocky start, they have a premonition that Aleph is not going to have a fun time on this map. 85% accuracy, and we're only starting to be halfway through the map. They both are building recoveries, but no, never mind. runnysunny is also replying with his own misses, and now Aleph is taking over the lead. The score just flickered, and the gates of getting that first point are open.
Already you can see the big characteristic of this map is not only its stamina, but its really brutal flow. It just twists and turns constantly, and you need a lot of control of your aim, because if you tense up a little too hard while your stamina collapses on the tapping side, you could really collapse and lead to some really scary chain misses. And we've seen both players suffer from this already, but it's quickly seeing like it's Aleph who's taking the lead and making this clear as to why he's picked this in. runnysunny, despite generally being decent on the tapping overall, seems like this map might be a little too much for him to start. But it's 60k with a really significant act gap going into this as the next death stream kicks. Aleph drops a little act, but doesn't seem to be a big cause for concern. Only a couple misses on the end, but runnysunny has fully collapsed into this. And it feels all but over here already.
Oh gosh, Shiba, he is almost tripling the score that runnysunny has right now. Only last quarter of the map left. And what we can say for sure, this map is brutal. Even some of the strongest tourney players are not being able to get more than 300k. And here's the div spike. Aleph, though, is definitely okay. He just pulled this map apart. That was the div spike, and he carved this map open right here. Just marching to that finish line and executing his first pick perfectly.
Yeah, it's a universal struggle from both sides, but it's really clear which player came out on top on this one. Against most players who are particularly strong on this tapping, it'd be a pretty significant gap from either player, but Aleph was the one to come out on top of this opening pick, and it will be 1 point in his favor here.
Yeah, he didn't need to dominate. He just outlasted, and that is more than enough for that first point. We shall wait and see. Maybe some other tapping maps will take into action a bit later into the match from his side, but we will find it out in a bit, as right now it is the first pick of runnysunny, and oh boy, he has a lot of cards in his hand.
Yeah, I think the common pattern with these players is that they're very well-rounded at a certain degree. They are both very solid on a lot of skills, but there are some that stick out a little bit more. And on a map pool this brutal, it's really, it brings a lot of curiosity to what those sub-skill sets are going to add to for them, right? I think for Aleph, you're going to be aiming a little bit heavier towards control and finger control. For runnysunny, it's going to be those very pure mechanic maps like aim, flow aim, any kind of stream stuff. And that being said, I say that, but that DT2 was a big struggle point, so maybe stamina in particular is not the point we're looking at. But I won't be surprised to see this Nomad pull be the main thing in the crosshairs for both of these players, as Nomad wants the next pick.
Yeah, you look at that, runnysunny is doubling down. He picked that last time. He lost by 1k, which was really tragic, really excruciating defeat. And now he has a second chance to prove everybody wrong as Aleph. This Nomad one, those cross-screen jumps are just completely insane. And last time he got around 300k. Let's see if he'll be able to outlast Aleph here on this Nomad one. So far, he has an early lead with 99.3% accuracy, and we're not even here with the first. Yeah, it's started right now, and runnysunny is just slicing through it.
I mean, this map is so consistently brutal. These maps are so spaced, constantly hitting you with really not an ounce of mercy, especially since these patterns transfer seamlessly into one another. You kind of have to go into a certain mode depending on what campaign you're in, and considering that there's no sort of ease or break in between the types of patterns that you're seeing, it is a huge test of your stamina and your composure as you go from note to note in a really long chain of difficult patterns. And for Aleph right now, he's having a pretty close game with Runny. Runny may take the early lead, a lot courtesy to that early accuracy, but now Aleph is in the driver's seat, hitting the end of this KI time and building into this next verse.
Yeah, there he is, smelling blood in the water. He just needs to get in that door before it shuts again. runnysunny will not forgive mistakes, so you need to hold on to that 300 combo that you have right now. The accuracy is also on your side, just slightly, but ooh, look at that. It's a combo reset from the side of both players, and right now, that 30k lead is gonna help runnysunny quite a bit. And look at the driver, only 1/3 into the map and already such a show.
Yeah, I think the map is pretty relentless through and through. You have a very traditional ebb and flow of this map versus still having difficult patterns, but not necessarily being the biggest test for players. It's the chorus where it really stings, especially the bridges between the final chorus is going to be also extremely difficult. And this was a map pulled for Corsair's close in 2024, I believe, if not 2023. It is a seriously unforgiving map and made for the best of the best. And for these two, they're really doing their best to keep up with the difficulty. And Aleph, sadly, is the next to trip up as runnysunny is off the hills to try and extend this lead.
Yeah, accuracy is not going to be the question here, but the aim, the raw aim department is struggling on the side of Aleph right now, and that gives runnysunny that sip of fresh air that he needed. Now finding another break though, but still he's always one step ahead as we're entering the last third of the map. The lead is not so big, but it is somewhat stable. He built that solid ground that he needs to hold against Aleph, because Aleph really wants that break point to consolidate his score difference and make it 2-0, but runnysunny is in his way as we're slowly but surely gonna enter the harder sections. But no, they're finding those misses even before.
A lot of exchanges on misses here, but it feels like Aleph's miss count and accuracy overall is really what's holding him back here. It's 30k, 3/4 of the way through in a 1v1 setting. It's a pretty decent gap when you think about it, right? But with this increased miscount coming into the biggest parts of the map, Aleph really needs to pick up his weight here. As you can tell, he's getting more and more fatigued the more this runs, and Runny, despite struggling himself on these difficult patterns, really does not show as much of a sign of that fatigue kicking in later on, as he's almost hitting most of this difficult section. Aleph instead will be the one to do so, but the question more is there enough time and enough score for him to build? I don't think there is, Philo.
Not after that break is what I can tell you for sure. Was that runnysunny, he'll be turning that pressure into power, not letting Aleph outlast him, and he is claiming that first point unless a complete disaster occurs by the last jumps or complete node lock, something like that. But no, with that, runnysunny will get his first point on the board, and yeah, that's off to a strong start. A trade of points, nothing too outstanding. What do you expect from both of these remarkable players? Yeah,
I think for sure a respectable attempt there from Aleph though, like 300k, really not too far away from joining runnysunny on this score difference here. 40,000, definitely a solid attempt, but I think both players again seemingly having a bit of a mutual struggle, no significantly high combos, and can you blame them with how difficult these patterns are and how fatigued these players are? They've been playing all day, some having, I mean, Aleph going from one of the hardest, well-fought victories in this tournament to a near massacre against the Seed 1 player in this tournament. Whereas runnysunny has a bit more of a balanced trip, but still going against very formidable opponents, the most strongest being recently Neneric. And with this trade being back and forth, both of them are having a pretty close affair on the first map here on Nomad 1. Next option for Aleph is going to be definitely the decider of what the kind of duality will be with these players. Is Aleph going to be leaning into more no-mod, more technical skills? I don't think he's going to be leaning into hard rock. I feel like he knows that deep down runnysunny can go into that territory later on into the series. So I think Aleph's bigger goal here is to aim for comfortable maps and no-mod in particular. And it will be the no-mod 3 picked up next for him.
Yeah, there it is, no-mod 3. The thing I'm worried about, though, Shiba, is that runnysunny, just looking at quals, for example, his no-mods are super strong. He got those top 2, top 3 seedings on no-mod 2, no-mod 3, no-mod 4, so he will have some chances to get his hands on Aleph's pick right here. But this map is the question of pure ult skill, and of course, the skill cap as well, it is quite demanding. It is just such a great snap alt and flow. It has both of these skill sets, and only the best control players will be able to do that. Speaking of, both of these are really good when it comes to control maps. We have seen it from both of them.
Yeah.
So this one can go either way, but I believe it doesn't even matter. You just go with something you feel comfortable on, and that is the play that Aleph is pulling off.
I think that's the question mark you have to raise with both of these players. I think we generally associate runnysunny with a little bit of a stronger ceiling into this pool, but Aleph, despite him saying himself that the guy's been, quote, fried, he's honestly not looked too horrendous into these next couple of maps, and I think with this one you have to really hope that he can keep that form intact, as the match will inevitably drag on to really hurt him a lot more. I think these guys have to have a little bit of a grace period as well. They've just played probably one of the most fatigue-intensive No Mod 1s you could ask for when it comes to your aim, and this map still asks for so much of your aim capabilities. A lot of stop and goes, a lot of these doubles, and very variable patterns with some flow, some snap that lean into each other a lot. And what more could you ask for from such a difficultly intense map when it's a pool like this, such high star ratings, so difficult compared to what you just played? It's just going to amplify that even more. And for Aleph, the mission is to just keep doing what you know you can do and succeed on your own picks.
Yeah, you put it very well. I mean, this map, it doesn't have any FCs on leaderboard, and that definitely tells us something that for Aleph is going to be quite hell of a challenge. So far, he is handling it because of runnysunny's first tactical misses to reduce those arsenal. And right now, we're just waiting for those cracks in defenses of either of these players once we get to the KI. And so far, it is pretty much neck and neck, even though you see a 30k score difference. I believe that is very easily can be changed.
I mean, once this next spike comes in, from what I remember, some of the patterns on here will be relentless going into this first section as it amplifies on the spacing really quickly. A big tempo shift as Aleph will fall. His goal of stalling for as long as he can before the inevitable trade comes in has not worked out. As for runnysunny, he's really mopping the floor in this first KI time, and you're hoping, if you're him, this is your chance to flip the script as long as you don't mess up on any of these ending sections. runnysunny looking spectacular going into this, only a tiny deficit in accuracy, but he will finally fall. Aleph exchanges though, and that makes the ground even for both players, with runnysunny taking that lead with a 0.5 accuracy buff as well. This is going to help him a lot going to the next first section.
Yeah, Aleph tried to beat his sandcastles, but he was not ready for the tide coming from runnysunny, especially after that.
Wow.
Crazy aim moment from runnysunny, and a break from Aleph, giving runnysunny a head start in this last quarter. 300k from him, and he needs to hold on to that. He needs to find a grip on the map. He already has 98.7% accuracy. He is really comfortable on this, and this is what I've been scared of, Shiba.
He's extending a lot of this lead, and with the break coming in, 33,000 score in his favor, he will fall into the SKI time, but Aleph quick to follow suit. He's not going to be able to make a breakaway through to this, and for Aleph, I think this is a bit scary. There's second pick already falling apart for you. As runnysunny, I mean, that singular pop-off, I think that one miss really stung for Aleph. These verse sections have been a lot more able for you to build this combo slowly but surely. And even if Aleph pops off a lot towards this ending, it's going to take a bit of a catastrophe for runnysunny. And considering the pattern he's been going with throughout this map, I think it's pretty safe to call this a breakpoint going into this map, the opening one in this series. And depending on Aleph's form going into the rest of the pool, this might be a bit of a bad omen going into it.
Yeah, that's how you win wars, one cut at a time, 50k score difference. And that's a major turning momentum for runnysunny as well, as he gets to determine his next pick. He won on No Mod 1, he won on that No Mod 3. You know, your aim, your control capabilities have been established. Maybe go for something like that for your next pick, or maybe you could experiment, who knows?
Yeah, runnysunny still, like we mentioned, a lot of options. These players relatively similar fundamentally, but the hard rock difference is what I'm looking at here for runnysunny to take the reins over. And although this hard rock 2 was not his map against Neric, this is a different player that he's going against. I think this time he's a lot more confident picking into this.
Yeah, we love Breakcore. Surely he learned from his mistakes, and I believe in the momentum that he has right now, Shiba. I think he has what it takes to actually determine that third point of the board. But
I have a feeling that Aleph has not played this.
Oh, that's bad news. That's bad news if you're an Aleph fan.
Especially if you're playing a map like this, which is really volatile in tempo. It really shifts back and forth with those rapid bursts into some difficult slow sliders that can really sting you if you're not prepared for them. I think with runnysunny having experience with this, plus probably a little bit of time to practice it too, Aleph is in a bit of a difficult spot. I don't really know if he's going to have a chance on this one.
Yeah, that might be that skill cap angle that Aleph has, and overall the skill set angle. I mean, this map has everything you need in it. You have that snap out, you have flow out, you have slider aim, you have slider spams, even that. And that is just a lot of those skill sets that you have combined. So you need insane well-roundness in the game to actually put up the plank that you have on this map. And we're going to be actually starting off slowly.
Yeah, it's a chill start on this one, but it really kicks in quickly, and it's one of those precision maps where there's usually a duality between these two, right? You usually either have a precision map at this level just carrying off of that stat alone, it being extremely high CS, 7.8 or however high it can add up to, right? But this one is very much a difficulty test in the mapping style, using that 6.5 to its advantage, because look at already how scarily spaced some of these patterns are. You've got those space slider jumps, you've got some of these bursts, some of these weird slider circle streams there as well. Can sting so much if you're just off of it, and if you're not well practiced, it can really hurt you. A slider break from runnysunny with Aleph holding on to good combo to start, but this accuracy tells a lot of the story going into this, and Aleph already giving away this combo advantage. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a repeated switch in drops from both of these guys, but the comfort really is obvious from which side.
Yeah, I mean, Aleph was putting up a rivalry at the beginning, but now it is pretty much set in stone. Actually, never mind 30k now, and Aleph actually has a superior combo. We're taking fully into the action, and you can see he's not being able to find any solid recovery right now. This map is merciless, and none of the players are escaping that battlefield so far.
I mean, you can see some of these slider streams and some of these really obscene snaps going into it. Oh, I mean, Precisional's already there with the stat, but these types of patterns only amplify that difficulty even more. But with that said, the break's shown. This is surprisingly close, Philo. It's that act that's really holding Aleph back right now. And he's going to have to carry that on and just carry this combo that he's got as much as he can. This slow section will work wonders for him to build this through. But Runny's definitely the one in terms of the confidence with this skill. He's going to have to just hold through and hope that this next KI time will trip up Aleph, because he needs to stall as long as he can. Yeah. I'm not too confident in holding on combo through this next KI time as we get into it here. But if Runny misses soon, it's going to help him, but he doesn't look like he's missed a bit too soon. Aleph's missed a bit too soon into this, and I think now, despite the miss from Runny, he's got a lot of wiggle room here as we get into the end of the map.
Yeah, that might have been too late for runnysunny to miss, and that break from Aleph, I believe, might have stolen the deal for that one. Aleph fought with pride, but unfortunately fell short. Right at the beginning, everything was still on the table, like 1/3 into the map, like left, and for now, it's just runnysunny. Once again, the German superstar, the rising carry, is taken. His next point, 3-1. That's a solid difference that you have. You should be pretty confident, and you see the expression on runnysunny's face. He is very happy of what's happening right now.
I can imagine a decent sigh of relief as well for runnysunny. He was probably a little bit worried about Aleph's potential on this, especially during the break when it was so close. That big sigh of relief for him was probably what saved him going into it, right? With this next pick coming in, it's up to Aleph to try and prevent this breakpoint that he's got from fully consolidating, because now being 3-1 up is a bit of a scary position to be in. If this next pick backfires for Aleph, this could be a bad omen for the rest of the series, as he's going to go into Akatsuki Tsukuyo. And this is brave. If you know what you saw runnysunny do last time, he may have lost in an Eric, but 500k on a map that has a lot of spikes during its chorus times shows a little bit of confidence coming into this. There's a good chance for Aleph to bring this back and take this.
There is a chance, but I want to remind you, it was pretty shaky when runnysunny was playing it. It was one slider break before the actual break, and he could have gotten like around 900k on the map, so you cannot underestimate runnysunny on this one. But of course, the point stands, your high BPM generic DT aim is here, and this just feels like the second try for runnysunny on all of those maps, because it's been like third or fourth map that we've seen him play so far into this day, and he is actually not going to be starting off so strong this time.
Aleph winning the adjustment here, you know, switching from that insane precision control, going into a map like this, which is so comfortable for a lot of players. It's very much that raw ceiling on top of being able to hit the difficult spikes here. If you can hold strong in these verses, you can work wonders as long as you hold some sort of nerve going into it. The first bridge jumps hit, as it's the key time for Aleph to hold strong in this combo.
Yeah, that's just bread and butter for Aleph right now, as he's making the lead rise, and he is completely nailing those jumps and those long bursts as well. So far, it is looking like a walk in the park for him, and he is not softening his grip whatsoever.
He really has to hold firmly though, although the sack advantage is big in his favor. runnysunny's combo game is very close. If you see Aleph slip, just like that on the slider, now runnysunny is chasing. It's very early into the map, a lot of score that can be amplified here, and Runny, we've seen him with massive combos on this map before. If he can build this up and not miss on these next jumps, and this core is coming in next as well, he's got a big chance to flip this. You've also got this really brutal bridge afterwards, another miss from Aleph. It's going to start snowballing big time here for runnysunny.
No, yeah, it is snowballing, and it is going downhill. There's no stopping that avalanche right now. runnysunny with 700 combo. Will he hit that pattern that his slider broke on last time is the question for now. I mean, Aleph is still on his tail.
Oh, you can't miss on that.
Look at that. That is so tragic, so unfortunate, so unfair for runnysunny. But that is how it is. 200 combo from
biggest spike.
Aleph.
Highest spike coming in now. Big jumps into the burst. Next continuation, a lot of control. And it may be Aleph to fall and runnysunny to hold. The break shows what happened in that spike, and the break says everything. It's going to be a 100,000 lead for runnysunny. And unless we see a collapse on the very end, it doesn't seem like it's going to change.
Shiba, if he hit that div spike, that would have been such a nail biter. But right now, it is just runnysunny, and there is no one to stop him. One thing of the map is left, and he is just having fun at this point.
Yeah, a little bit more amplification of the tapping going into this. Some streams and speed coming in, but not nearly significant enough to be worrisome for these players. It's going to be 600k scratch. runnysunny will outscore himself in his match against Eric, and this time take the point against Aleph. He's taking a big lead now, 4-1 with his next pick coming up. It feels like Aleph has a very tall mountain to climb.
Yeah, that is 2 breakpoints. Might be feeling really bad in terms of your moral state if you're Aleph right now. 41, 2 points away from being eliminated from the tournament, and it just feels terrible. I mean, that's what happens when runnysunny wins No Mod 1, a very aiming map, and you reply with another aiming map, you get a break point. And without Aleph, might need to change his strategy, but we shall wait and see when this happens, because so far it is just runnysunny's pick, and it might be one of the most crucial points in the match.
Yeah, it's a big opportunity for Runny to now experiment a little bit with how he's feeling on this pool, depending on how much he's practiced. You've got maps like Dino's Advento, which is a bit dodgy, and if Aleph is willingly going into this hard rock skill, that could be an option he goes for. Justice Monster as well. But I think he's a little too worried about runnysunny's capability on the hard rock overall, and with Hidden being around, this is a big question mark I had, because I was initially thinking that these guys would both want to willingly go into this, but Aleph banning Data Eraser shows a bit of a respectful sign, and Runny might willingly leave that as a chance to pull the kill shot if this No Mod 4 option doesn't come out, as his Mind Chase coming up next.
We're getting one not so stable pick after another, because this No Mod 4, both runnysunny and Aleph played it last time. They got around 300k. So that definitely tells you that it's gonna be quite brutal for someone, for one of the players. And yeah, of course, Captain No Mod 4, it is a No Mod 4 from OWC Finals. The stakes are very much high, but I hope both players are ready for them.
2023 OWC Finals No Mod 4. This one was a slaughter from what I remember. Was it last year or 2023? I believe it was 2023, but I could be wrong. Regardless of that though, like, goodness gracious, this map is brutal. Mapped by Ishtiak, it is a classic style of modern tech that has been having a huge influence over map pools recently, and I think this guy alongside some other mappers who have specialized in a skill like this have really taken a toll on the map pools of recent tournaments, especially at this level. And this one being a very iconic example. So brutal with its slider aim difficulty, with some etchings of slider tech and aim control with these singular circle notes is going to be a little cherry on top to what's already a really brutal aim control map.
Yeah, you could go on and on about Ishtak's style of mapping. And runnysunny and Aleph are gonna be feeling every single pattern of what this guy has placed into this map. So far, Aleph was having the lead, but that note lock was not what he wanted to see. runnysunny taking over the lead, and that's his pick. He is looking forward to get that point. After another break from Aleph, things are looking not so great for him right now.
It's a bad slip up, but that trip's turning into a bit of a fall as another miss from Aleph is going to sting even harder. This advantage is also colossal here from runnysunny. Still though, will fall on this little chain section here as the circle tech here amplifies itself a bit going into this SKI time. Aleph being able to hold on and recover a little bit of a combo, and suddenly it's flipping back in favor of the Spaniard, but there's still a little bit needed for him to fully eclipse that difference. And runnysunny really is keeping up good. Accuracy's now an equal here with 100 combo from Runny, 230 combo difference here, as Aleph still desperate to hold on to this lead as much as he can. Another miss from Runny now consolidates this lead for Aleph.
Yeah, the last bastion of Spain is still holding very strong, approaching 500 combo. Breakpoint is exactly what he needs right now. He just needs to hold for 100 more combo and he has it in the bag. Will he though? Aleph, do you have what it takes to get that second point and stay in the match and maybe pull off a comeback is the question for now.
This part amplifies even more in its slider aim difficulty, and Aleph is trying so hard to keep up, and he's doing a great job. This combo is soon to eclipse 700 to go into the last third of the map. It's still only 40,000 score difference, so definitely room for runnysunny to wriggle through, but it's still not going to be enough as Aleph is tearing this part of the map to pieces here as he hits that entire slider aim section with ease.
Yeah, and that is the knight in shining armor performance that you were waiting from Aleph all the way. Finally, shouting the loudest that no, you cannot beat me on a control map, that no 1-4 is mine and there's nothing that you can do about it. As he hits the outro, and 1K combo is what we're seeing in front of our eyes. Such a stellar performance.
4-digit combos, a great way to shine really bright in what literally looked like a big dark call for Aleph, as he will take it. He's got the cinema hands, he knows what he's done. What a fantastic score from Aleph to hold himself strong in this match. Now it's his pick next to make it 4-3. It's a long hill, but if he has that confidence and energy to get into it, I mean, look at this miss count from him. A 2 miss on this with 4-digit combos compared to runnysunny's 23 misses. You come to question how he would willingly pick into this. I mean, the guy had a great score against the Narek, but this big polarizing difference in score compared to last time is a question of consistency here for runnysunny, as Aleph gets 2 and now looking to make it 3.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you, but maybe that Aegis reban was a mistake, because I feel like if it was picked, Aleph would do some amazing performance over there. But with that, you want your control heavy techie map, maybe go for something else, because there is not many opportunities left for such techie maps that you haven't full, and you need to get them ASAP right here, because if not, runnysunny, I do not think it's going to be an issue for him to establish 1 or 2 more victories against Aleph and close off this match, so you need to act fast.
And the question here for Aleph now is whether or not he dips into that hidden pool, and he will. No. Levitating coming in for Aleph. Now, Aleph being historically decent with this hidden, the reading is going to be another question here. Can Runny keep up? How is he going to feel with this? He himself has said banger. And this one, although it's reading heavy, it's mapped by Xarius, and Xarius maps have a lot of that volatile, sharp aim into it. And this being no exception, pulled for what I believe is final stage of Corsai's Close 2024. This map is a serious challenge. And I think being in this pool just speaks for itself. And for these two players, it's another difficult map to come in swinging. Aleph now looking to make this banger the chance to bring him to 3 points here. Still, even winning this, he's going to have to get another breakpoint over runnysunny. So it's still not going to be an easy journey going into this. But Aleph has always had a good experience on this hidden, and I think this map is going to be an amplification of that skill. But the question is on whether or not runnysunny can keep up.
I mean, yeah, runnysunny, I do remember this guy getting seed 1 on AG2 in qualifiers. And that's gonna be a hard pill to swallow if you're Aleph and you lose this one. So levitating, your comfort aim a bit awkward, and a lot of slide aim at the last KI is gonna be the name of the game right here. With early breaks from runnysunny, actually Aleph with a head start, making some leg room for himself. So far, not looking like he got any issues on the map. I spoke too soon. But still though, you have the 30k score difference, something that you can be pretty much sure of.
Still really early days here, but both players looking solid. This accuracy difference from Aleph is really the big gap maker here. And it's going to be a little bit difficult for runnysunny to close this gap going into it, but he is still gaining faster here than Aleph. And another miss from him is going to sting, but this next section on this burst, notoriously brutal on this. Going those cut, safe jumps into back and forth, kind of going back to the same note again. Look, you can see it here. Those types of patterns are what's tripping Aleph up right now. And Runny, despite trading, again bringing back this 80 to 100 combo to be the catalyst of this lead build. Still, there's so many collapses here. Now they can really get a build up into this.
Yeah, but when both players reset, you see that by default, that accuracy advantage that Aleph has is gonna always give him that score advantage as well when there is no combo from both players. So far though, Aleph is finding more and more breaks, but is getting traded by runnysunny, so he is still holding, but everything is on the table. Only 20k score difference, and we're only approaching the halfway point of the map. There is now no return for Aleph and runnysunny.
Both of these players struggling a lot on this map, but Aleph still with the superior gap here. This accuracy very noteworthy now. As both players continue to collapse and miss at similar parts of the map, accuracy is always going to be the big gainer here. Any advantage for runnysunny, despite this act deficit, is going to slow down the attempt of the push. And I think for Aleph, that's exactly what you want if you know you can keep up well. As we enter the next third of the map, the last third going into it, potential increase of even further spiking proportions here. It's up to Aleph to just keep up the momentum, keep the dance rolling, keep playing to the tune. As long as he can keep up, that's all he has to worry about.
Yeah, it's still a tug of war, and Aleph is dancing, he is vibing to that song. I love the attitude, absolutely. But that last quarter of the map is gonna be what separates legends from losers in this tournament, and Aleph is gonna be taken off with the first miss. runnysunny is trading him though, it is still undecided. A lot of breaks, players are shattering, their combos are not stable whatsoever as we're approaching the div spikes of the map.
Again, it's both players having a mutual struggle, but there is one who's further ahead. It's Aleph going into this. More misses from both sides. The gap closing very slightly, but not going to be enough time, I don't think. Unless Aleph continues to miss. Runny's got combo. Is there a chance of the flip in the last second? Surely not. Only 5,000 score. The Pentagon jumps will close it, but it's Aleph to still close. That could have been a disaster backfiring for Aleph. The guy was dancing and suddenly started realizing, hold on a second, I might lose this one. Got to be a little careful there, lad, but he still takes it. And it's up now for Runny to gain again. He can't lose another breakpoint. Momentum now starting to bite back at him. The 4-1 curse seems like it's not an exception to OWC. It seems to be everywhere nowadays. And Aleph now looking to go into Deanna's Adventure Hard Rock. It's going to be Hard Rock 4 for Runny. I love this map so much. I'm so glad we're seeing it.
This is the one I think we've all been expecting. He won at one of his last match. Was one hell of a performance, especially at the end of the map, getting 700 combo, 800 combo. Extremely well put off by runnysunny, and yeah, there it is, once again trying to replicate his dominant victory.
I think if you're runnysunny right now, this is the last Hard Rock map where you can feel a little extra comfortable, but even then, it's still potential for Aleph to push this. Sight reads, for some is a big buff, for others a big nerf. We'll have to see if Aleph can make a benefit out of it. This map consistently difficult through and through, but a notable halfway section being the big pattern where it amplifies this slow down, speed up spacing of these patterns. Really common in this map through and through, but it amplifies that with a lot of burst speed kind of peppered in between. It's a really difficult test of both control and that sporadic mechanical difficulty. But for Runny, you can already see he's gotten a great head start going into this.
Yeah, of course, so far looking really good for runnysunny, but we all know that guitar solo is what will break mortals. For now though, runnysunny once again in the driver's seat. He needs that 5th point And that opportunity that Aleph just gave him with that miss is exactly what he needs. He needs to hold more and more, especially considering right now the patterns are not so difficult to hit.
I think this early into the map, this combo from runnysunny is really impressive here. If you want to even put up a fight against a composite player on a map like this, you need to have big combos starting off going into this. And poor Aleph, he wasn't ready with the smoke there, but he still holds, but still only 200 combo. This early into the map, 600 to 700 combo from runnysunny is very intimidating on the opposite side of the map here. As you get to nearly halfway through, if Runny Eclipse is near 4-digit combos going into this, Aleph has a big challenge ahead of him, as he's finally started to figure out the general difficulties, intricacies of this map. The guitar solo section is the big question as we get halfway through. A big miss from runnysunny. Now it's up to Aleph to fall through, full steam ahead, going into this big section. Can Aleph? Oh no! He misses just before, and this may be a big collapse for both players, but who cares when you have nearly 200,000 score ahead here?
Aleph needed that miracle, but it just turned away from him. runnysunny is breaking on that guitar solo section, but it does not matter as there are no combos on the board. The map just turned into a 1-minute map remaining and a 100k average, 100k difference by default on runnysunny's side. Right now, it's not the God mode, but that is more than enough for him to establish that match point.
Seems like the side rebuff is not going to be present there for Aleph on this map. And considering that both runnysunny, I'd probably imagine, have practice on this, but also experience on stage on this map, not surprised at all to see him pull up a really decent score going into this. This map is really merciless in difficulty, consistently hitting you through and through. And for runnysunny building up nearly 98 accuracy, nearly 400,000 score, it's all but over. Lit and sealed, delivered for runnysunny on the map like this. He's going to get to match point as he will hit these space patterns. Aleph with an admirable attempt as well to match that difficulty, but there's not a lot of time left and a lot of score to build for him. And I think this will be match point for runnysunny.
Indeed, and the only question that we have now, Shiba, is how far will he pull off this combo? Will he see the ending once again? That would be stellar from him. Will he turn chaos into art? We shall just see him hit those last patterns, and so far it's looking very nice from him. 600 combo. And I think he's done it. I think he's done it.
He may have hit this ending. A few ending snaps, I think, at the very end. But runnysunny has essentially had a one-break run on this map. A fantastic score. May not be fully noticeable from the scoreline alone, but when you know that he only had one real set of breaks at the midway point by the guitar solo section, you have to really give kudos at hitting the rest of that map. 841 max combo, then 600 to close. A really good performance from runnysunny. 3 misses as well. Aleph a valiant attempt, but against a player who's practiced this quite well, there's not really much else he can do with it.
Yeah, he won normal 3. Now he's winning another alt-based map, which is Hard Rock 4. What else do you need? You showed Aleph that his own alt skill set, his control, is not gonna be obeying him this time around. And for now, that's not gonna leave the greatest taste on Aleph's tongue, as it is do or die for him.
Is Aleph talking about another tournament right now? Bro, you gotta get that sorted, Aleph. You gotta close the game out. Come on. Oh dear. Well, let's hope Aleph can either bring this back or runnysunny can close out fast for him as a bit of mercy. It's his next pick coming into this. Question is on whether or not he's going to be able to continue this. Is he actually going to keep this going? Surely, right?
Surely.
Can't end it midway. What's Aleph's choice going into this? He will keep playing. It's going to be Hidden 1. My Chemical Romance mapped by Aishtadu in the Hidden 1 set.
That map is honestly quite fascinating to see. First of all, you have My Chemical Romance, which is already pretty banger enough. Second of all, this map, it's not quite usual to see this kind of aim in the map, because it has those, semi-circular low aim patterns that go all across the screen, and it's very fun seeing them being hit by those great players. So of course you could generalize it as awkward aim, and with that we see runnysunny, we see Aleph Only one of them will advance. Will runnysunny end it off now, or will Aleph live to see another map?
This is Alef's pick, but we did see the pool thinning down a little bit for maps that are a lot more confident for him. You know, Aishadu usually most famous for running these really difficult flow ult maps like First Death and of course Unravel from OWC 2024. But this one being much more on that snappy end despite still having that characteristic patterning that we know and love from him. But it feels like both players having a big mutual struggle into this. This is some very unforgiving aim. And for both players, it just seems like a mutual struggle again, but 96 act for Aleph to runnysunny's 94 will give him a bit of a score lead, but he'll let that lead slip away very quickly.
Yeah, it looks like they are they are mutually struggling identically because the scoreline is not moving. No one wants to give an inch, but at the end we will get the answer. runnysunny is gonna give us a hint that he wants to get it, but never mind. That 100 combo just completely whooshed, and we do not see another lead from anybody. It's
I don't think either player are really able to give away an inch, let alone take a step at all. These guys are struggling a lot. Back-to-back constant misses. Finally, a little bit of a cooldown in difficulty. And that's given Aleph a little bit of a combo game with that timing of the misses being in his favor. But it's soon going to start gaining up. Look at this long chain of jumps. Both players getting slaughtered, but the chain miss from Aleph is going to be the biggest sting. Despite that, though, it's not going to lead to a flip. It's still very closely in his hands.
Yeah, the accuracy is still on his side, is around 100%, but still, it does matter. And that combo as well, never mind the combo. This map speaks for itself. It is merciless, and I am completely terrified of what we will see at the last KI.
I don't think I'd be surprised either. Both these players just being so tired going into this. They've been playing all day and having really difficult battles throughout. But with that, when fatigue kicks in the most, it seems like Aleph is the one to stand out going into this. Finally, gaining a little extra combo into his next KI time. As we get to a quarter of the way left of this map, Aleph is gaining and gaining, and both in accuracy, combo, now in score by a lot. As runnysunny will not be able to fully keep up. He will miss again, and I think this is the deal sealed here for Aleph as he will take down this next pick.
Yeah, this is not done by any means, Shiba, and he is back on track getting that
God.
point. Holy!
What is that pattern, man?
I have no words, but what I know for sure is that we got a fourth point, and of course the signature move from Aleph that we're seeing.
I'm so tired of this guy being a meme on the camera. Don't change. Never change, Aleph. Never change. Now with one more map left here for runnysunny. A lot of options thinned down, but I'd like to think still a big chance to play this. You've got Hard Rock 1 as a notable option here. Is he willing to pick this into Aleph? That is an option available to him. Age of Tyranny as well. runnysunny, notably, usually a very strong flowing player. This could be a map for him.
That could be it. He picked it last time, it backfired, but you know, he did a lot of similar stuff in this match, and he actually won the map that he lost on before, so maybe if he wants to prove himself, but no, it's not going to be Nomad 2. It is Hard Rock 1, the King of Lions by Camellia. Amazing song, amazing map. You have that Mac Taki / Amy, of course, because Hard Rock 1 slot, 4 minutes of pure tech consistency.
I love this chat so much. These guys are just having so much fun, man. This one, you're right, being quite of an Amy-sided mech tech map. Used in USC, I believe, as well as a Hard Rock map last year in 2025. Now being mapped here by Rego. It is the last map before we have a chance to see Echoes of Memoria by Shinjuku. What a great map that could be seen. We saw the Koa map earlier.
We all saw that.
These guys are on the same wavelength, man. I can't believe this. Let's hope we get to see a tiebreaker. As we get into King of Lions, runnysunny's last pick. Hard Rock has always been that map we've seen throughout this match that have been in his hands, especially now with it being a slightly higher CS than the usual 5.2. This is a big challenge for Aleph, but if there's any time where that fatigue sits in and he can take that lead, now is the time, especially with this slider aim being a big part of this map.
Yeah, that's what has to be done if you want to stay alive in this tournament. You're already in semis, but loser's bracket is not something you want to stop at. was that the battle begins and Aleph gonna be dropping his first blood into this match. The accuracy speaks for itself as well. 94 against 98 from runnysunny. That's gonna be a tough battle for Aleph.
Still, look at this consistency from runnysunny showing here. Really excelling on this, not letting that combo fall and not even showing a sign of discomfort on this, as Aleph is really struggling to get his foot off the starting point on this. 400 combo, nearly 500, finally falling, but a lot of advantage already trickled in. I don't know if Aleph's going to really be able to have a time unless he finds a moment to adjust.
Yeah, you can see the comfort that runnysunny has. After those couple of breaks though, Aleph, he might be able to bolt up, not after that reset from both players. There you have the, the slow combo section, but Aleph is not being able to catch any recovery even on that section. With that, the KI is beginning and Aleph is struggling more and more.
This might be a bit of a whimper ending here for Aleph unless he pops off now. runnysunny still 2 steps ahead for him. He will finally fall in this double slam section. Aleph now with finally a chance to open something up, but it won't happen. It's quickly closed back in his face as he'll fall again on this spam, as more tech difficulty is going to amplify going into this.
Yeah, this map has no mercy on either of the players. runnysunny finding that breakthrough, 30k score difference on the board. It is more than doable for Aleph. You just need to combo game the hell out of the next couple of 100 combos that you have in this map. 90% accuracy is not that bad. runnysunny dropped his accuracy, so it's not going to matter so much anymore, Shiba. And the gates of the comeback are open.
Finally now, a window of opportunity served here for Aleph. He's going to have to keep his composure and still hold strong. These jumps really volatile and difficult with this hard rank amplification, but it's still both players to hold on to the ending of this first 2/3 of the map. Now with the slow starter coming in, both players know exactly the deal. Break coming in, Aleph jamming. Kind of energy that he needs right now to close off this map. Only a little lag difference and a big combo advantage here for Aleph. This is the moment for him. He's got a lot of chance to build and gain a lot of extra combo now. He's exceeded runnysunny's max combo. He is the one with the highest one. And if both players collapse later on going into this, this ending could lean towards Aleph, but the question is whether or not how much longer he can stall. Especially with the slow section and nerves kicking in. This is do or die, tiebreaker or bust.
Yeah, we're at the eye of the storm right now, Shiba. That KI is gonna be very, very brutal. Aleph has the advantage, but he needs to keep that combo alive because runnysunny is on his tail and he is not getting rid of him. But no! A double break, a catastrophic collapse inside of both players. That is not favoring Aleph whatsoever. That is quite terrible. He needs any sort of combo to see, but no, he's not being able to catch any. runnysunny with 100 is now in the driver's seat. Never mind.
There's still such a chance of Aleph. He just needs to keep building this combo. It's still close enough to bring this back, but as the difficulty really amplifies, he's just going to have to bring himself back and pick himself up. A brutal miss, another one to follow, and I don't know if there's room left now. runnysunny finally may just be able to close this out unless there's a collapse at the very end. It's more double spam to close with some extra slider aim to add into it. And maybe a couple misses coming through from both sides, but there's not enough combo for Aleph to build, not enough time to play with, not enough map as runnysunny sees the horizon. That is it, done and dusted. runnysunny will be the winner of our last match today and will make it through to lower bracket. One more stage.
runnysunny, the German prodigy, is proving all of us that he is worth staying in the tournament, taking out one of the most experienced tourney players. Not the bubble man move. No, no, you cannot be doing that altogether, guys.
I thought Unc was better than that.
That anyway, is just great.
With that, there is your winner, runnysunny, to take it through. It will be the last winner of today as we get tomorrow with more bracket games in the semi-finals and onwards. What have you thought of today so far, Philo? How are you thinking this one's going to close?
I don't know. I've been loving it, and the other game, I don't know. I don't know. It's always a surprise.
Well, you've got the likes of Raj, you've got Bubbleman, of course. You have players like Malashevsky coming in who has just been merciless going into this. I believe he's facing the Nerek first tomorrow. These guys are going to consider so many times in LAN. We'll hope to see if anything can change with that usual narrative, but with that being said, I need to wait and see if we have any interviews coming up before we make any closing thoughts. But
yeah, no one is here. We
haven't got either players in yet, but I'm curious if anyone would like to interview. Poon, thoughts? No? No info on anyone who's curious. So why don't we close off for now? Why don't we just end it, and we'll leave the interviews for the bigger games tomorrow. But with that being said, that's the end of day number 1 here of KEL4. It's been a pleasure. It's been a lot of fun. We've had some absolutely mind-breaking games. It is so fun to see these teams duke it out, and I hope tomorrow we'll see no exception. Philo, anything to say before we close?
Anything to say? Stay tuned for semifinals upper bracket matches. They are quite spicy. We got the rematch of Bubbleman versus Gravity Bio, which is just such a nail biter, and I'm all down for that. So, yeah. We'll see you all tomorrow. I think that's it from me, man.
Thank you so much, crowd. Thank you so much, everyone watching at home. Much love. Thank you to Prod. Day 1 of KEL4 is over. We'll see you guys tomorrow for the best of the best together in the bracket. I'm Rashiva, joined by Philo. Thank you to our talents, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye-bye, everyone.